Budget Committee meeting of the County Council will resume. Maybe. Okay, Cheryl, when you are ready, you can take it away. Oh, we probably, Calissa, would you be kind enough to call the never mind, they're here.
Enlighten who?
I was going to say the enlightened individuals from IT, but here they are. And there shall be light.
Can we do
Hey,
Netflix instead?
Netflix. What'd you watch?
Oh, it's called Manifest.
Oh, yeah.
Is it? But it's only one season.
And it's 3. Isn't it 3?
Oh, is it? And then
It's a little slow.
It's good.
Here's a
It's back
job
on again.
opportunity for anybody who's interested. Mike Richards is out as the host of Jeopardy,
Oh, well, maybe we haven't.
and the search resumes.
yes, he got kicked out for saying some things years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I thought LeVar Burton.
Well,
They
he
were doing
may
like
be
guest-
back in the
They were doing
running.
guest hosts that did it, and he was supposed to be the
So-
full-time one, then guest.
Marie, are you wanting to stay with edit at this point, or, Scott, we lost.
Edit, right?
If you're going with that, or you can think about it and come back to it, but I didn't know if there were any changes, that you wanted to
I'm
make.
okay with
I
that.
did, we'll make note on your bond payments, the last payment for Pfizer, so you only have one.
Yeah, it's on the back.
So your Pfizer payment will be, Pfizer bond will be paid
Pfizer.
off.
Okay.
So that
We
will,
could make, you wanted,
that will help with the edit fund in the future.
yeah, motion.
Most, tell you what,
Okay, we want to table that to edit, okay?
Okay.
A second?
Oh, second, sorry.
Okay, and all in favor, aye? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, now we're down to,
You either start discussing salaries, or you can discuss big things, like I said, and those other ones, like, the health department's asking for 2 trucks and 1 SUV.
you want to look at those biggies?
if you wanna
Look at
go
the health
through those.
department, Look at,
Yeah, let's look at the big things first.
Oops,
that'd
I'm
be a
sorry,
good
I'm
idea.
moving.
so,
If I could make one note that I
Okay.
have in there for unemployment, it did get increased, and with the uncertainty of, I don't know if to say COVID, Julian, but our unemployment has really went up this year, into last year, this year, and, although that list is confidential, by looking out in it, some of them do go out into 2022 with the possibility of being paid. So,
they will totally go on unemployment.
well, you might have some part-timers, you've got some that have quit county government, or left otherwise county government, and are drawing unemployment.
So that.
And those do go to HR, and they do,
as we go instead of quarterly.
Is that an elective or?
I think it's pretty, most governmental units do it that way, but in the past, it's worked out because it's a pretty secure job.
Okay.
It is elective, and I know that at one point we looked at and going to paying the premium, and it wasn't beneficial.
And
Not at the time. I don't know about now, but
I think over the past year, it became tougher to challenge it. I think basically if you were out of work, you got unemployment, whether
And
you deserved it or not.
that's what I was gonna say. HR, we spoke with her and she tried to talk to them and the ones they challenged, and they basically told her that through this time period, they weren't really denying any of it. So, there you go.
And so are we gonna see this in a lot of the different budgets then, an increase in
I think
unemployment?
I increased county generals, and, now, highway didn't really have much of an increase. No, or, parks wasn't too bad. No, where you're seeing it is, health, county general, community corrections had some, but they pay their own. That comes from theirs, we take from them. So, that's the ones that kind of.
911 had
Which
some.
one, which one's?
911, and I did ask
Which one
for,
paid
because
their
I
own?
asked for an additional for the lit ESAP, because dispatch.
Excuse me, Cheryl, which one paid their own, did you say?
Community corrections.
Okay, community corrections.
I mean, we,
Well, health and parks and every,
pays their own, but.
yeah, if you're employed and paid out of county general, your unemployment comes out of county
Gotcha.
general. If you're paid out of health, it comes out of health department
Okay.
and parks and whatever.
And health had a lot, did you say, or did not?
Health was quite a bit.
Right up
Yeah, Julie
there.
can answer
And
that.
community corrections, I assume, is
Yeah. And like I said, they.
not bad now.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's quite a bit of an increase, but that still may be, more than what is needed, but try to keep us from having to come back and,
Can you, I don't know if you can disclose this, but like health, does that tend to be more full-time positions or part-time? Oh, it's only one position that's creating it? Oh, okay. But they
Okay.
probably didn't have very much appropriated, so, because it traditionally. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say, that didn't take long.
and unfortunately, you had a few that maybe were long-term employees. So that's kind of what's, increased that. So I did increase that in their budgets, to try to cover us for 2022. We talked about it and looked at it, so that's why you see that increase.
Well, and that makes sense, I mean, with the kind of years
Yeah.
that we've had last year and this year, so I don't have a problem with that. Okay, what else stands out?
Just letting you know, that's why you see that increase.
Okay.
That's helpful.
And then chemical prices, I remember talking about that, just the stuff that we need has increased.
And then you get down to, they've asked for 2 trucks and one issue.
Kelly, what's this?
Is that like mosquitoes? and
Mosquito
Yeah.
spray.
Yes.
Go out and get up the varmints.
stuff? I gotta remember, I need to look in my notes.
It's in that first person. Part-time request.
Is there anything on
Down.
that, Cheryl, that sticks out in your head?
The only thing that I show as increases would be the vehicles, and there's a $500 increase in equipment new,
$500 increase in what?
equipment new, and it
Okay.
was, for replace a ULV machine.
There it is.
$500 increase in equipment new, and
Equipment new.
as my notes indicates to replace a ULV machine, and I don't remember what a
What is a
ULV machine is.
ULV machine? Oh, ultraviolet. ULV.
I don't remember.
Ultralight vehicle. Ultralight vehicle?
No, I don't know. It says that we
Machine.
have equipment that's old, needs to be replaced, one, I don't know what
Let's see if it says.
Machine. ULV. Hmm.
The cars that they're asking for, is that part of getting, like, the chemicals and stuff out?
Yes.
Or
Spray,
specifically for
they
vector
spray,
control?
yeah.
Okay. And that
Not
was
the sport utility vehicles.
sport
No.
utilities, something different.
That's for racing down at the fairgrounds. I made that up.
That's a or car.
Baby's been around.
That's all. That is
It is a
fogger.
ULV fogger.
Oh, that's a
Yeah.
fogger.
It's
fogger,
for
yeah.
disinfecting, right? Yeah,
Well,
I'd say it's
pests-
probably-
Pests and mold.
yeah, so I assume it's for the
Yeah.
ones that they use. and they
Ultralight
do for COVID.
vapors, how about that?
It could be COVID or it could be like for,
Ultra low volume, pesticide,
That's the, like, the foggers they use on mosquito, trucks and stuff.
and this is the one for small.
there you go. Now we know the rest of the story.
Ask Grandma Google, she'll know that.
I'm not necessarily one when I see vehicles and different things to get excited about it, but when I look at the age of their vehicles, it is concerning, especially if that's a big part of what they have to do. I know.
Well, that's been a practice in recent years, is to stagger and to be sure
I mean,
that they
I
have
don't know how it's
safety,
total.
safe vehicles. I mean, they've had, some pretty ancient, crafts on the road in the Vector, and they've really been trying to replace those. When Mike was on the, council, he was going to about that stuff, and a lot of them have been replaced.
You know, if we ever get started on our plan for ARP money, that's the type of thing you can pay for that, pay for with that $20 million to get.
But then, can that be used to replace? Or it has to-
You mean,
If you spend something in the budget, approve something for a budget, like you're doing now, for 22, and then that money comes, commission, to down, or it's money that's already spent, or money going forward.
it would be best way to do it would be write the check right out of that fund, not
They
Oh,
get
okay.
reimbursed.
Yeah. So possibly even, I mean, if we had to, if we're concerned about the cost of them, maybe trying to find at least, one or two, see if we can do like the third or second one, and whatever we need to out of it. I'd be curious, and maybe we need to get a hold of them and find out which ones are priority, on that.
Jim, on that, those funds, is that not that you couldn't have purchased it before March of 2021 or something like that?
No, I'm talking about the ARP money. We've got 2 years to deal with that, to spend that.
But I thought that was one of the requirements on that as well, that you couldn't have.
You're
um,
talking about CARES Act, I think, aren't you?
No, I think it's ARP that you could, so, because like one of the things potentially was, the broadband, where they were allowing for you to do broadband, but you couldn't have expended the funds prior to March of 21. I remember reading that in one of the releases that came through from AIC or something.
I think that was a CARES Act rule.
The CARES Act, we got that in 2020.
Yeah.
But this one was you couldn't have expended and then reimburse if it was expended prior to March 31st.
That's what I wanted.
Yeah,
Which were past March 20.
that's what I'm saying, so it shouldn't be an issue. Well, because he asked if you could reimburse.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's what I think, it's on the, if there's 3 vehicles here, if we thought that we could get money for it, put it in the
Well,
budget.
no,
said, oh, you
well,
can't.
I
If
see
it
what
wasn't
you're
budgeted,
wanting.
you couldn't
You're wanting
use
to
that
buy it
money.
now and take the money.
Yeah,
Well,
that's what we're trying to.
You might get crossways with the Board of Accounts too, because from a couple of memos they've put out, they want you to pay for it right out of that fund, so they can, I guess it makes it easier to audit it, so.
Get it? Commissioner Kearns?
We're on the health department right now.
they quit. Yeah.
Yeah,
For the health department, but for vehicles, talk, just talk.
If it's equipment related,
Mosquito
I bet
fogger equipment.
One of them's a health, I think 2 of them are for fogging, and then I don't know what the third one's, the sport utility, it's a multi-passenger vehicle, so I'm not
I
sure.
think that was going to be,
Should be for him.
They're old. Yeah. Yeah.
They replace,
yeah. Reimburse.
Says it.
This says you can use it for reimbursements. Allowable ARP general government expenditures, blah, blah, blah. Potential options to spend ARP funds for general government purposes, lost revenue, necessary water, wastewater, stormwater, blah, 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 reimbursements. I think you can probably just spend it. Thank you for coming up. Okay, I'll be keeping my eye on you. Somebody has to. He has.
I would really, I don't know how we go about this, since this is one of the first times we're gonna have this, but I would really like to hear from Joni if we have to prioritize vehicles. I mean, is that procedural? Or do you think, what do you think? Or they're old enough, they just need to be replaced?
I think they need to be replaced. I don't know, when was the last time they bought a vehicle?
2 years ago.
Health Department, for the trucks. Oh, did they buy a Vector?
I think they got a truck and a SUV, because they asked for 1 truck and 2 SUVs, and they got 1 truck and 1 SUV.
They got 1 vehicle after they totaled that Chevy Colorado too.
Well, that probably was pretty necessary.
But that was in 2020.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, that wasn't,
Well, and again, I'm trying not to assume, so I appreciate him getting her. I know that a lot of their stuff is like inspection. I assume that's what these are vehicles for, like when they're doing like health inspections and driving around, doing it for that purpose.
okay. Well, maybe if she's in her office, she'll be over here. Chemical prices have increased, and that is not a lie.
Okay, is there anything else on health department that
No, that's
jumps
their
out?
major increases, just those chemical
Okay.
prices, the unemployment, the drugs,
Okay.
$500, I
and I hate to be a stinker about the vehicles, but I know a lot of departments are asking for vehicles. I just want to be able to rationalize it if I
That's fine.
give one vehicle.
Yeah, I say good
One
luck to them if
department.
they can get one, is
Yeah.
what I say. That's a miracle.
Commissioners are gone, or we could be asking them to give you that information.
We can,
I'm okay if you want to click on another one.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I just, if you want to kind of glance and see what the big things are and changes,
Mhm, that's a good idea.
and
Is
then
she
you got it in
around?
your mind.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
What the Park and Rec was asking for major changes.
Stop it.
She's gonna-
Okay, so this is, we're looking at Parks and Rec
Yeah,
right
this
now,
is
right?
Park and Rec.
Yeah.
Other
12,
supplies,
19.
1219.
other supplies went down,
Down.
but he increased the janitorial supplies by maybe about the same amount. I think he said that.
Yeah.
About $1,600 difference.
Contractual down, gas, water down.
Yes.
Contractual.
Fuel went
I
down,
don't see,
and then his equipment
yeah.
is increased by 30.
And I want to say it was either one of the lawn mowing vehicles, tractors, or like the tall.
I should know, because I talked to him.
He's got notes in.
New equipment.
Bicentennial Park, we're in need of new
Take care of these
equipment.
parts
Yeah.
necessary. So it's a
Oh,
mower.
ZTR, yeah.
It's the mower mainly, everything's a
Yeah, that's a new park.
New park, yeah. Yeah, kind of for because they're gonna try to have some out at the West Terre Haute.
Because they've been hauling one back over there all the time.
No, I think I'm okay with this budget.
And if you get to like these, and we were going through them, and you're okay with the 2s, 3s, and 4s, it might be better to just maybe make a motion at this point that you're approving the 2s, 3s, and 4s of that budget.
Then we just go back and do
And then we
salaries
go back
across the
and
board.
adjust
Okay.
the I mean, that would be mine, since we've not discussed salaries
Yeah.
per
He's-
se.
Just in,
Todd's putting a motion on the
just in
floor right now.
case you wonder, 2s, 3s, and 4s is everything but payroll.
Yes,
Right.
Okay.
sorry,
Okay,
I saw it on here, we got like the first video.
yeah.
okay.
I'll
We
make a
have
motion that approve this as requested, for the 4s,
Parks and Rec.
the salary.
And I will second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
For parks.
Now, there was anything in here that was another public stuff.
No,
So this is assessors on
and this is the reassessment budget, and his is contractual services and other, which he was wanting to increase for the yearly flyover,
1224.
instead of the every other year
Well, there you do it.
increase in service agreement.
That's
One
how
of the
it's
things
done.
with the yearly flyovers, if they do that change finder software, that you need a yearly flyover so that it shows change from this year to next year,
Correct.
or from this year to last year.
And I,
I don't know the cost, but, that's.
is this one where he said because it'll keep them more up to date, there's a chance that it's gonna impact?
Hopefully it would pick up on some of the new construction they haven't
discrepancies
got
and
picked up
things.
on.
I'll
or
tell you, I
even
think
though-
I think Kevin is on top of it. He is really, got an eagle eye.
It wouldn't take too many buildings to add 215,000 to assessed value.
As I recall, this can be used by other departments. I mean, it's
You're
more,
right.
it's more expanded use than just
Just-
reassessment.
That's right, I'm just looking for a couple,
With the
10 or
GIS
15
department.
buildings,
Yeah,
that's
that's
right.
Trying to
Because we
keep it
talked about that with
updated.
engineering.
You are correcto.
Other service agreements I'm looking at too are down from 2021. They shifted.
That was on the sales disclosure fund. Or, yeah.
He's turned that place around, he is really efficient.
So that's the two main changes in his budget that
Really,
I
it's
see.
not. What's that? Cheryl, can you go all the way to the bottom, see what the difference? Yeah, it's just really that.
Oh, from last year?
Yeah, I was just curious. Really, it's, I mean, it's
It-
50, which is about,
51,380.
the cost of like those.
That's fine.
I'll make a
Get
mo,
over the stinking airplane.
Todd, it's a good way for us to see new construction and also to see buildings that are no longer there. So their first flyover, they'll do it the second year, they'll be able to gauge and see.
This makes me think we're big brother, that's all, that's all.
Well, guess what, we are.
We'll let them know we'll let you know when they're doing it, so you're not out in your yard. How
It's a
about that?
balance,
Run around
that's all I'm
naked.
saying, it's just a balance.
Close your blinds.
I'm gonna make a motion that we approve, the, how do you say, items 2, 3, and 4 for, reassessment 1224.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The motion passes.
You're killing me.
To me, it makes sense.
Very first one.
Cloak of invisibility.
Green Street.
That's the first thing we're doing. I'm gonna go see him as soon as I get out of this room.
Just to look at it.
Okay, next one.
Cume Bridge. Again, the contractual services other is the other half that we take to use to supplement engineering budget. Like your edit. Looks like you're asking for equipment for this year in Cume Bridge.
So he decreased
Yeah, by about
one
35.
area about 35.
So this-
It's asked in 75.
Is this the same one that we just talked about? The assurance, is that applicant?
This is the-
Engineering budget requested 75, this is the other half,
Correct.
so that's why you increased it 79, 75 4.
It's 2 6 months.
That we put in for advertising 150. We decreased it to the 75, which is the normal, so that would give you the 75 from Edit and the 75 from Cume Bridge to supplement the engineering. Actually, that's what the engineering budget.
I wrote this is for equipment, needing vehicles for lease for backhoe, and then an additional truck that needed replaced. Contractors.
And the bridge pipe and replacement, that's where they normally, that's replacing bridges. Work on them.
So you're okay with leaving the engineering funding at 150? You're okay with leaving engineering funding at 150 instead of 75?
Oh, I got it. I got it.
I thought we were splitting 70.
75 to a total of,
Right. You don't need 150
No,
to
that's
fund
not right.
engineering.
She's advertised it at $150,000, but she's got it at $75,000. The other 75 comes from the commissioner's budget,
Yes.
and they come together.
So
So,
So we only need to have an line item under required, requested budget, 75 under.
Recommend, yeah.
That's what we have right there.
That's all that's necessary, but you can set it at whatever you want.
Yeah, you can set it what you want, but I've got 75 in there.
And I guess, when I hopefully, when I said it, as was,
And that's at 150.
so I,
As this budget.
Are you wanting 2s, 3s, and 4s as requested with the exception of contractual services other at 75?
5,000. Yes.
thanks for.
What she said.
Because I was actually, I thought it was 75, because there was always 75 in it, I needed it.
Make your motion again.
Okay, I'll make a motion again, is that we approve item 2 through 4, with the exception of the 75,000 contractual services.
And I will second that.
Is that clear to you, is that
I
clear?
got it.
I got it.
They got it. And all second?
I second it.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion approved.
So the rest was coming from him. We will.
We spent everything. We
No.
did not pass them.
I can. I mean, can you hear me? Is that okay? You think you'll
We
be
can
able to
hear. Mhm.
Okay.
This is another service you
And
provide.
Marie has a
I'll
question.
go back to that.
Okay, so for the record, Mike Graylis with the Health Department is on my phone to answer questions to the Budget Committee. Marie Thies, you want to start? Mike, can you hear okay?
Yeah, I can hear just fine, thank you.
Is that working?
I can.
All right, let me know if you can't hear me. I'm going to try to talk a little louder. We are looking at the 3 vehicles requested, 2 trucks, 1 SUV for the health department. Also keep in mind that we can see the age of the vehicles and how you guys have done with that over the years. As we're looking at funding options, potentially coming in with some other outside funds, we're trying to see if there's vehicles if you had to prioritize, out of the 3, like where is the priority for like more immediate replacement?
Were you able to hear her, Mike?
Yeah, I think I heard she's kind of wondering, prioritize what vehicles are needed.
Yeah, because it sounds like 2 of the trucks are for like vector control possibly, for like with the sprayers, and then 1 SUV.
Well, yeah, the SUV is needed to replace the old Crown Victoria, which is high mileage and the odometer's actually broke on it.
Okay, can you tell me what that's used for? It's just so I can rationalize and understand what it's being used for.
That's used for when the nurses or for when vector control or anyone goes out of town, or whenever we need to go, more than a couple of us at a time.
Okay,
It's
And then-
a multi-purpose vehicle.
multi-purpose. And then what about the 2 trucks? Are those what I'm thinking with vector control, or are they used for additional items?
The 2 trucks was going to be used for environmental because we were going to take their trucks and put on vector control to downsize our fleet, get rid of the gas guzzlers. We've got a couple trucks that are 98s that are big block, they're 360s, and we were going to try to downsize, try to save a little money on gas.
So priority-wise, it sounds like the SUV, because it's multi-purpose, is the most important. And then if we had to consider like maybe 1 truck, maybe looking at 1 for future options as well, is that kind of where I'm gathering the SUV is the most important?
Yes,
Okay. Thank you.
you're welcome.
How many miles are on those trucks? Do you know, Mike?
How many miles what, I'm sorry?
Are on the trucks?
We're on the trucks.
Uh-huh,
They're at over 100,000.
thank you.
What about the style factor of not being able to show up in a 94 Crown Vic? I mean, you're losing something there.
Well, it depends on the wheels.
Oh, that's true.
I couldn't hear that,
Cheaper to
Mr.
just
Kearns.
get-
It wasn't a value. It was Councilman Thacker, an attempt at humor.
Okay.
Cheaper to get new wheels, right?
Any other questions for Mr. Graylis?
I'm good.
Thank you,
Thank
Mike.
you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay,
Yeah, have
bye-bye.
a good day.
According to the narrative, the 2 trucks have over 150,000 miles on them.
150.
I didn't know if that was collectively or.
No,
I'm assuming since they're
assuming
24.
separately,
it's
especially
that's
because
individually, I believe.
they're 90, what did he say, 98s?
They're
Yeah.
24 years old. They're
It's almost as old as I am.
almost. How many miles you got on?
33 years.
Probably up. I bet you more.
I've been driven
Say
home.
we might, if we ordered those trucks, we might get them in a couple years.
This is a tough one. Well, I think the SUV, it sounds like it's a necessity for multi-purpose. I kind of wonder if on one of the trucks.
That's what I say. I
You
mean,
say?
I think that's
Okay.
terrible.
All right, make the motion. I'll second it.
All in favor, say
Just
aye.
remember that. Aye.
Go for it. Got it. Motion passes.
May I ask Commissioner Kearns a question? I'm gonna give you a 30-second.
Oh, he's
30
so
seconds
happy.
means 6
I
minutes.
just want, so these trucks, even though they're older, could they be repurposed for something like either Parks Department, or
Yeah.
if they need extra vehicles? things-
So, yeah, we did that.
Okay.
We did all vehicles. It's a technical thing, Councilman Thacker. Yeah, so the one that went from the health department to the county highway, the plan was to use it for safety purposes, for like the flaggers and stuff. Realistically, when you look at safety components, there's no airbags. If you get
That's
hit in
true.
the side, that's what you have to look at.
Okay.
Yeah, can they move? Sure. And they're fun to drive, but safety-wise, we gotta take care of our employees.
What brand are
Okay.
they? What brand of trucks are they?
Well, they've got a whole bunch of Ford Rangers, I know that.
Yeah, that's-
Little 2 doors, but
Ford.
yeah.
These 2 trucks in particular, Chevys, 1500s.
But it is phenomenal how well they've done. I don't know if you guys have already talked about this, but 2 years ago, we implemented a fleet replacement program, and we've been doing really well with that. Started off by buying, I think, 7 of the blue trucks, the stripped-down trucks that we drive. And that has been a big help, because I think prior to that, we were just nickel and diming it. When something would die, we just, buy a new one. It's the wrong way to do it. So with county highway, we actually put a plan in place on replacing equipment.
And that's like, I think that's what's helpful for us, because if I know there's a plan, instead of every year, we're just, kind of replacing, I would like, and that's kind of where I think we've talked about before. The other thing is, I assume then, like, if this is a car that's unacceptable for us to use within the county, I mean, do we sell it? What do we do with it? I know you're not gonna get much,
Yeah,
but-
we just got rid of about, was it 40 vehicles, Chris?
42.
42 vehicles. One truck that we use as an example was a 86 dump truck that we discovered we had over $100,000 in parts alone and maintaining that thing, when we could buy a new one for a little over 200,000. So we just went around, and I think, Vicki, did you go on that tour? Were you part of that day that we had council members and walked around, look at the vehicles?
Absolutely.
That was an eye-opener, wasn't it?
It was.
So most of those beaters are now gone.
Okay, but are they sold, or?
Yeah, we sold them
Okay, that's what I was getting, so,
2 or 3
Auction
weeks
style.
ago. 40 some.
$15,
No, it was just shy of 50 grand, wasn't it?
something like that.
I can't remember.
I
That's
just,
what I was
Recall,
trying to
Jimmy?
tell everybody the first day we were here. I said,
Salvage
"Oh,
price,
it's
basically.
Yeah.
okay,
I think just below, I think 47,000 or something.
Okay.
But it was an open bid process, advertised. Yeah. But
As
we've
long-
done.
Yeah, as long as we get something, as long as they're used
That's
somewhere
what I was
else.
looking at
And we,
here.
if you look at the department, so we were creative, adult
Engineers,
protective services.
engaging,
We did a lease for 3 Toyota
center
Corollas?
technology.
that we were able to get for less than $200 a month per vehicle. Toyota helped us out on doing that. So we've been creative on procuring vehicles. But somebody got a hovercraft. Yeah, yeah. You had to bring that one up, didn't you? But the, a lot of our cars need replaced.
Okay.
Departments are afraid to ask.
Okay, thanks.
Chevy 1500s with 150,000 miles, they're just now getting broken in.
Okay. Okay, Cheryl, we got lit PSAP. Are you ready? Okay, here we go.
Lit PSAP, main change is the equipment new. They're asking for. Again, group insurance has increased, but you're gonna see those fluctuate from last year to this year. It's a kind of a set. Or we're not gonna really give you any, can't waiver that group insurance. Consulate, I think that she said those needed to be replaced, so that's the main thing in the lit.
It's PSAP, but it's
PSAP.
911. Yeah, it's 911, but it's the PSAP fund, not the 911. Yeah. Yeah. No, not yet.
From your,
Do you wanna go back on the council?
yeah,
Yeah,
where you
it's
said
a smaller scale than
workstation.
what they got for,
Why is this in here instead of 911? Because the 911 we had in
This is
Well,
about of another firm.
How much is that consulate for?
25,000,
So that's not, so that's a portable unit
yeah.
to replace what was out at the Air Guard. We are investing in a backup system at the new city police station, and so that consulate will be for that.
That's
No,
for
it's gonna be
three of
located.
them.
The 25,000 is for 3 of them.
Yeah, it's located in the police department, but it serves a county-wide
Yeah.
purpose.
It's a backup.
So just
These are
for
three
history,
backups, yeah.
911 was traditionally funded by the city and the county. The city decided to stop funding it, so now it's the county in its entirety. We had a backup 911 system at the Indiana Air National Guard that was not working out. We discovered that when we needed to use it as a backup system. So we were able to work out a deal with the city police department to have a backup system installed there at the new facility. So if we do have problems, or when the time comes to move from the current location upstairs, then they'll be able to use this backup system. So that's what that money's for. Thank you.
Okay.
However, during the discussions, this equipment, Brendan, cannot be purchased from
But it can't through PSAP?
Can't get it can't get it with 911 money.
But the 911 is very
Specific.
specific.
That's what I see.
We've been through audit after audit, phone call after phone call with them to make sure.
Is that the money from the state that comes from the user fees? What we used to call landlines?
I think I'm first name basis with it.
Yep,
If you're gonna purchase it, it can be on the 911 fund. You can appropriate it out of any.
kids will enjoy looking at it. Okay.
For
Second.
2s, 3s, and 4s.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion pass.
Cheryl, real quick, can you explain again, there's 100,000 that's anticipated being appropriated in, both this one and the E91?
And that is for what Commissioner Kearns just was just discussing.
But is it two, so you're
A
looking at?
portion of it can be paid from 911. We had to take the
So is it a $200,000 project, or are you just not sure where you're gonna fund it at?
I think it's gonna have to have, I don't think it's 200,000, Calissa.
Okay.
But,
It's 80.
but a portion can come out of
Mm-hmm.
lit, and a portion can come out of 911.
You just don't know the
We
break.
just don't know, so the
You're just
breakdown.
covering your bases.
So I was covering the basis, and that is for if the purpose of that getting done this year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we use COVID funds, Jimmy, if I recall correctly. We use COVID funds to do the build out with Garmong, for the city police station, for this backup system. This is like 60,000 or something. Well, I'm getting a lot of looks right now.
I don't remember.
Yeah, we
using
paid for
COVID.
it somehow,
That wasn't part of that.
unless it was for that.
I don't think we use COVID funds.
How do we pay for it?
I don't know, good question.
I don't believe you have yet.
Yeah, I don't think we got an invoice.
So
for
that's
that.
what this is for then.
And Vicky and you and Chris were all made well aware that you would probably have to ask for an addition from somewhere.
Okay, we're asking for the money
She
then.
had some
Oh,
funding
Vicky,
she was
Vicky.
able to use.
Oh, it's
Did she use it from PSAP?
She had some appropriation that she wasn't gonna be using all of it contractual, if you remember right.
Yeah, we got the paper from,
All I know is I got the quote,
Garmong.
and I talked with 911, head of 911 at the state to decipher what could be paid on
I recall that.
So it's
we're good.
somewhere under 200,000 for the whole project.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, oh,
Yeah, yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes.
I don't think it's more than 60 something without the
Is it
consolettes.
total project? Well, consolettes are.
I'd say, yeah, total project's probably below, I mean, just to be safe, below 100,000.
Yeah, we
One
couldn't
hundred
get a
thousand.
clear answer on what was being paid out of what.
Oh, okay.
1,200,000, is that a number?
Because when
don't
she
enunciate
deciphered
well.
it down, after that, I have no individual prices. That never made it back to me.
Oh, so you just don't have a good
You see what
breakdown.
I'm saying?
So
She
the whole
kinda-
project might be 100,000.
Yeah,
but you
she
don't
made
know.
notes on it of what could be paid, but I never got anything back from Garmong to tell me what that breakdown would be.
But this is for the backup facility. I think
Correct.
what we are, in our ask, that's also for moving them upstairs. So Vicki,
So,
or
I didn't really.
Councilwoman Wager, you recall the efforts that we had in getting the new consoles
I do.
in the facility to make it more humane for the employees.
And work, make it work.
Yes, and one of the things that we did was make sure that we can disassemble them easily and move them upstairs.
Correct.
But, you know, if we get the other jail vacated, let's say in July of next year, then we can be looking at getting them up there after that. So this will help fund that process. Because we're gonna have to make improvements to the 911 area, the new one. We're
One
not,
would hope.
we're gonna have to knock out walls, and we still don't have a plan for that building yet, in full transparency. But we know that we want to bring them up from the basement upstairs. We will soon,
We'll be back for an additional
as soon as you
appropriation.
approve it.
That one passed.
Thank you. Yes, it did. Sure did. Okay, next.
Okay. We've not talked about clerk perpetuation yet. Don't have any major stuff, but that has just part-time salaries in it. The only change I see is the service agreements went down by 300.
Surely it's less.
So, what is the, no, the 18th.
No, they didn't talk about it.
It's keeping their records
The
perpetual.
maintained records like they were on for 3.
And just,
They get a fee on their court, in there, like a portion of their court fees or something.
yes,
That comes, so like every time they have a court fee, there's a portion of it that goes towards the perpetuation fund so that they can maintain. It's a part-time person.
part-time person. And did some of their service agreements. And like she said, it can only be, again, used to maintain their office and record. And As you can see, there's the budget down, and they'd still have 207,000.
So Cheryl, does that just stay at that figure? We don't, is that considered a salary, or is that just a perpetuation fund?
Well, if you increase part-time help, you would need to adjust that, or it reduces the number of hours that they're allowed.
Right. So again, I mean, you could do the 2s, 3s, and 4s if you wanted, and come back to it once you decide if you're going to increase part-time.
Gotcha.
The good thing is they're in good financial
Yeah,
shape with that one.
with that
With
one.
They're set pretty good, but, you could still do with this one like you've done with the other ones.
Okay.
And once we see salaries, then you can actually see what it will do to it.
And I don't know, time that I saw an email who had these things. What is,
That's county general clerk.
I didn't know that.
Motion, please. 1, 2, 3, and 4.
I will second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Forget some, it's gonna.
The only thing that has payroll in it.
How about local road?
Oops, it disappeared.
Some of those other ones, the reason I passed them is we're gonna have to do some in salaries.
Okay.
Either it's only salaries or they have a fund.
Yeah. So, local road and street,
That is number.
1169.
yeah, right with highway.
So this is the one we talked about with the, wasn't this the other 75,000?
No, well, not
No, that was
exactly.
something else, okay.
No, not exactly. There was a line in edit for the economic development of local road and streets, but it's not tied to this fund.
Not to that one.
It's tied to the highway and it's developing roads.
Roads. They kind of get funding from,
All over the place.
different sources.
Move to Highway 30. So,
This one is mainly like your equipment. Well, they've taken the materials out. And the state revamped highway, a couple of years ago. Now they have what they call highway restricted. And that is what, actually, you'll see that Larry and I call Highway 3. Because DLGF requires that you budget it all on Highway 1176. However, half of your funding goes to 1173, which is restricted. And so,
No.
no. No, but I'm trying to see why some of this is moved to Highway 3, because Highway 3 can only be used for basically improvements of the road, you know, it can even like if a highway person's out doing a certain job, a percentage of their wage can go towards that. So you will see that when it says Highway 3, that's really what Larry and I call our restricted, so that we know to move that amount to the restricted fund.
So on the bottom one where it says 275, move from.
Move some.
Move some from.
Highway 3,
Move from the highway.
because he knows he can move equipment.
But there's still.
Because in the last couple of years, this highway fund, Highway 1176 was broke up in several different ways. And because of the way that State Board of Accounts and Department of Local Government and Finance have switched highway up, that it's restricted, Larry and I have been in a process of fixing this. Okay? So this year, I think we have it,
Think you got it?
got
Yeah.
it situated.
So like you can pay for bituminous and gravel and stones from Highway 3. That's one of the restricted, one of the uses you can pay for out of Highway 3. But you can't pay for repair of equipment, so he flip-flopped those.
flip-flopped.
So
Got it.
that's why you have 250 moved out, 275 moved in. So
Does it, or is it up top, does it have salary?
it has no payroll in.
No payroll.
So we can approve all this.
Yeah, and I wrote notes if you need certain trucks, at least for $30 per truck. That's what it's paying for.
The whole budget. Okay.
And I will second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. This motion is approved.
Now, this is highway, and you'll see it's kind of broken. Highway administration, 530, which is Highway 1, maintenance and repair, Highway 2, construction and reconstruction, which is really Highway. Each one of them does have salaries in it. Well, the big changes I see again is what he switched from local road and street into Highway 3. 50 and the 200.
Miscellaneous went up 5,000 into Highway 1.
Oh,
Paving and repair supplies went up a little bit. I think he just rounded that off on, in Highway 3.
yeah, 1, 2. So, yeah, miscellaneous, he asked for $1,000 up here in Highway 1. And down here in Highway 3, moved the 50 and the 200 over from local road and street. And like she said, the paving and repairs went from 114 to 12. Again, salaries are in here with highway, so those would have to be addressed. Want to adjust salary.
So on this one doesn't have, since we already did the vehicle type stuff, that's what it's, why it was allotted last year, but not this year on this one, because that's the one we already just did.
On the, in the highway budget?
Yeah, they got.
I don't have any.
That's
No, not for this year, last
Oh.
year.
last year.
Yeah.
Back up, gas. It's quite- it's weird.
Oh, you're talking about the 280,000?
I just want, 21 maybe.
Yeah, yeah, that's your halfway point, so we're,
If I had an idea, like,
twenty may not always be a good, reflection on gasoline, because here we had 6 weeks that, and then that nobody was really traveling or doing anything because of the pandemic.
Well, that's true.
Prices were,
Well, and the prices went up too, so, because they dropped way low, and now they're back up.
and they're back up, yeah.
But you can, I mean, you still look at it now, but you figure this year you're at 121,000 and halfway through the year. So even if you double it, you're at 240 and the prices are rising.
That's not-
It says something ground. So Cheryl, where it has
It may have-
gasoline there, you just moved it.
Oh, sorry, I'll
For,
go
that's
back.
okay, for 280, there's also further down, gas, water, fuel, oil,
That's
coal.
utilities.
That's utilities.
Utilities, okay.
and we got another gasoline down, you said earlier that like highway 3, is that right? That's the highway.
Oh, yeah, there's another one.
That's what you need to do.
280, but
Look at 532, gasoline used to come out of that.
One 148,
149.
and you see down there where they have gasoline listed and where the highway description, 140, 100 gasoline. Last, right?
And that's what we're looking at, because the gasoline in 2020 was appropriated in 532.
I don't have anything in highway.
And that's when things started getting shifted around to make up for the restricted.
Yes, I can.
So in 2020,
Nothing.
gasoline was still paid for out of what we call Highway 3.
Yeah,
So-
I just wanted to make sure, so that, the total
If
you
you have
gave me
entered into
148.
agreement or purchase, then no, you cannot encumber.
We've already spent 120 this year.
Yes,
I just want to understand.
no, but yeah, that's, it
And
was
then
appropriated
this
out of
one
Highway 3.
Then has the money that was moved from health or,
Locally,
Yeah,
Stone and, 50,000.
From bituminous.
bituminous.
The commissioners are in a situation too where we're out of fuel money as well. So we'll probably give our bill to Larry because he has the funds to
Pay for
pay
it.
for it. Just an FYI.
start walking.
Well, we've had, not, this group of commissioners is very active in face-to-face communications instead of phone, if that makes sense. Me too.
Well, out of highway.
Country Mark, but it all goes through.
Who can buy gas at the Country Mart?
Sheriff's Department, Highway Department, Health Department, all the departments. Yeah.
And then who, I mean, like, city?
City
fire
employees,
department,
yeah.
State?
But Country Mark has a discounted price for us.
And
But
we
if
have
we're in a
contracts.
situation where we can't get to there, then we can fill up anywhere.
Who operates the Country Mart?
No idea.
And it's only for government,
Yeah.
it's fleet, and you just get a card to operate it? One out east, yeah. Down south, yeah.
On here.
Yeah, right down, the fire department, I think it's,
Yesterday, took the pump outside, got there for me, pump stopped. Shut off, now they shut off, and got to start again, had a price change, filling up at 78, shut the pump off, and started filling up at 390.
ooh.
No, he just said that there
Well,
was a price change,
price
and the
change,
pump
yeah.
just shut down, like,
I saw a sign change
he was so
yesterday from
mad.
275 to, dang. It ought to at least fill it up at that, that's true.
Are we gonna move on? Sorry. So no, it's interesting. I'm just trying to. I move, now that I put myself in there, didn't I? I move
Take it
that
away.
we, and this one has salaries in it, right?
It does,
So I move that we approve, 1176, items 2, 3, and 4 as budgeted.
As budgeted,
As requested.
all in favor?
As requested, sorry.
Requested, and there
Oh.
are no salaries.
Huh?
No, so
No
just
salaries, 2, 3,
2, 3, and
4.
4, okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, the motion passes.
Engineering budget. Doesn't look like he's made any changes from last year's adopted budget, except for it would be your salary.
Engineering.
That doesn't seem right. They can stop. Something like that. Seems pretty ready. Oh, yeah.
And as you can see, the engineering budget, just based on what we have budgeted right now, the 351, 202 is left to spend this year. 35,000 is his estimate for his permits and stuff that he has that does come in. He does get some revenue from those, that does go in there.
Which one
We've
is it?
already
Do it
moved.
Perpetual.
What was budgeted this year, the 150 in, so that's why it's already part of that cash balance.
Balance.
So that's why you don't see it here.
Mhm.
But it is part of this 410 for next year. And, then the rest is like his,
Are you doing clerk's perpetual or engineering?
I'm sorry, I'm doing engineering right here. Sorry. I was just trying to show you what the 4B would look like.
You said really nothing other than,
Oh, yeah, and I'll go back to,
Salaries.
yeah, nothing has
Changed.
changed, except it would be salaries. His requested has not changed.
And so when they do that, have they spent the money in the historical or they have a certain
mean, he normally spends his, but he doesn't really ask for much more than supplies. And then this maintenance, repair, and signal lights, now that is an agreement with the city that they pay.
I think it's going up.
And I was gonna say, we've had this discussion that there's a possibility that that's going up. Because it's been this for years,
20 years probably?
yeah. And they, maintain, repair, whatever, 2, is that it? Signals and lights.
It's like down on Seventh and Spring Hill or something like that, and
So that's what that is. It's an actual contractor agreement they have with the city.
So the city maintains most of our lights, is that what he was saying?
All of them.
When they started it, we only had the one at Spring Hill, 7th and Spring Hill.
Yeah,
So-
so most of them are probably city.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a few on count.
And then then he has office supplies for 1,000, which is what he's requested. Had already spent. And then,
as an engineer, he's
he has
just
his
very
equipment new, which
specific,
as of June 30th, he's not
fastidious.
spent it, but that's maintaining the same budget as last year.
Motion to request.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
We're gonna have to come back to hell.
They're all probably.
Different.
Health maintenance, health donation, and
They
health
got a bunch of
immunization.
funds.
Parks non-reverting operating, if you wanna look at it, with your 2s, 3s, and 4s.
So this is not reverting, so this is money that they're getting, coming in that right? It stays there.
It
It's
stays
from shelter rentals,
Campsites. maybe?
campsite rentals, maple syrup sales.
And this is the one right now that funds your Griffin Bike Park manager. But miscellaneous, he reduced, but special events went up by 5. Facility improvements decreased, but amenity improvement increased there.
And then how much do they have in their
15.
funds right now? There it is.
So that's how it stands. 202, based on budget with 3%, 130, 160 flat. 247 is our cash balance. He estimates 110,000 for the rest of this year and 220 for next year. All that would be true. Have 240.
5 left.
45,000. So, yeah, it's getting to
Getting down to the nub.
close to where the revenues are
Scary.
matching the budget, but
Sure. What do the 79 parts on it? Yeah, that's not bad.
On 1179?
78.
179.
Oh, tap.
Never mind. Brendan, do you ever have, Commissioner Kearns, do you ever have thoughts about how to fund Rich Moore's salary?
Thank you, Council Chair, Board Chair, Bigger. Yeah, I actually proposed at one time that they do a user fee for the facility.
Are there any codicils about admission fee?
Yeah, the concern was the mission of the Parks Department being free and open to the public, and I think it's really worked. They don't have a way to bring in revenue other than through races and stuff right now. They've put on some first-class races. And so Rich, since Rich has showed up, he's a true bike enthusiast. He's put on a lot of events that have got us national attention for one thing, but also brought a lot of people into our community. So while there may not be direct revenue coming into Griffin Bike Park, there's definitely heads and beds, as we talk a lot. And campground revenue too, because of that. So, yeah, but it's my understanding that they don't ever foresee charging admission to the facility. So do I have any
We gotta figure out
ideas?
how to keep him though, because he's really a key in the success of the place.
Yeah, Rich, Griffin Pike Park is Rich Moore. I mean, he's done a phenomenal job with that. And, you know, he volunteered to get that going. He's part of the original group that got it going. And
I know that.
we're very fortunate to have him. But I think it's, you know, you look at it like a program director, any other people that do stuff for our parks. It's just it's a new thing, Griffin Bike Park is. And, you know, the Friends of Griffin Bike Park, a foundation that was started by the Griffin family, is doing very well. They were also able to help get that $500,000 grant from the state for trail improvements. $500,000 is a lot of money, and it made some great improvements, but that's an expensive park too. So they've done some phenomenal things.
You know, and I keep trying to think endowment and so forth, but even an endowment, I mean, you can't draw enough off of it to pay a salary out of it.
No.
You know, and the commitment was made when the park was built that it would never have to be paid for out from the county. And that's been a snafu hang-up, you know, ever since.
They make money off special events, but it's a nominal amount. I don't know if it covers Rich's salary or not, but I can see that happening. I mean, there's so much there. Commissioner Schweitzer and I attended an event with a world-renowned mountain biker that designed a trail, and that received national attention. As the YouTube video that he produced there, hundreds of thousands of views, and that brings people to Terre Haute, because I've met people that have actually come here because of that. So,
Thank you very much.
Sure.
The question I have here, Carol, on the notes, explain to me how the notes there are under requested budget, 96,000, and the actual adopted budget. So they thought they were going to get something like that. Go back.
Oh, they wanted to switch him to the, health, or not health fund, the Parks Fund, that's a property tax fund. And by switching him out, they wanted to increase what they were paying for improvements. And then when the council last year, whatever, well, several years back, that they've said no, then they reduced, the amenity improvements to keep it within a fundable level.
The adopted budget was 62,000. 60,000. Only asked 10,000.
So it kind of
Correct.
swapped. Okay.
So we're ready for a motion. Budget 79, I'll make a motion that we adopt requested budget at 2, 3, 4. Park 3.
I will second.
Everybody in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
That's all salary. Probation, drip. those other ones, I think,
Are all salary?
they're gonna have salaries, and it's gonna have some, it's gonna make some differences for the rest of the budget, I
Okay.
think.
It's 3 o'clock.
You did do
Pretty
the
good,
correct.
pretty good.
So I say,
I think you don't have.
yeah, that worked.
Yeah, I can start. Okay.
Oh, they,
Yeah, I know they have to.
I mean, I think, do we have more to talk about for the commissioners?
Just have to prove it.
On edit or the commissioner's budget in general? Well, you already tabled it, but I mean, guess you could bring it back up.
Table it for quite a year, quite a mass.
Yeah. They were gonna, they needed to, end up their auditor's work.
So you're gonna meet again tomorrow? Is that what you're?
Yes.
Okay,
We're
so
gonna
you,
Yeah, we're all day tomorrow.
what time would you like for us to be here so we can accommodate our schedules? To accommodate our schedules
works
to
for
answer
you
your questions?
guys?
Yeah, what works, we're gonna be here.
We'll be here all day.
Tomorrow's Wednesday. Are you open?
I'm good, yeah.
We wanna make sure that we're here to, and we get
Oh,
Mike
no, we're
too.
not. Oh, well, I'm not. I have a meeting at 9:30. So do you, if you so choose to go.
I have one at 8, 9, no, I'm not doing 9:30. But all three of us need to be here, and your 9:30 is probably gonna last until 11:30, my guess.
What time are you guys starting?
10.
10.
Mm-hmm.
We could probably take a little early. Up to you.
Well, but
I've got
it
an
depends
8.
on the room.
Who's
Is it
in here?
the Board of Zoning Appeals, and I don't know
Oh,
if they've
that's right.
moved it or not.
I forgot.
But that, you guys have to take minutes for them?
I can probably be done by 11:30, or we can come back at 1 o'clock when you guys are done with lunch or something.
You say the time.
You guys think, you guys come out one night.
Yeah, I say collectively, we can be here at 1, Mike,
1
Chris, and
o'clock
I.
for you guys tomorrow. That'll work.
Is there anything that you'd like for us to bring to answer questions? Because
I think you do, I like it.
you like those?
They're funnier.
Thank
Pretty big
you.
word.
Good job.
Donuts, not at 1 o'clock.
Brenda and I just think that they were asking for the list.
What kind of, yeah, that's where we're all on a diet. That won't stop us.
You answered that for us, but.
Oh, I did, but maybe they were.
But they also asked if you had any plans for the extra $100,000.
It's up to you guys.
I say you guys drive, whatever you guys want to do.
Oh,
We were just trying to give you a little time to get a little bit of stuff done if you have anything to.
I'm fine with
That's what I
that, 'cause I
thought
can
too.
do
They have
teacher stuff in the
appointments,
morning.
yeah. 10 o'clock.
I
And we'll see you guys, see the commissioners.
do have an answer from Rich Moore if you want to hear that real quick.
Okay.
Rich Moore says that they bring in about $10,000 a year from entry fees for events. The rest is grants and sponsorships.
Gotcha.
I've been waiting all day.
You know, have you noticed they only hear what they hear?
I'm thinking donuts in the morning and pizza for lunch.
This meeting will stand in recess until 10 a.m. tomorrow.
I hope so.